Welcome back, dear students. Today we are going to learn about the types of immunity. In the previous class we have learned about the cells of immunity. Today we are going to learn about the types of immunity. Let us see that one. So immunity is of two types. One is innate immunity and second one is adaptive immunity or acquired immunity. Again, this acquired immunity is of two types. One is active acquired and second one is passive acquired. Okay, so immunity is of two types. One is innate immunity, second one is adaptive immunity or acquired immunity. Acquired immunity is of again two types. One is active acquired immunity and the second one is passive acquired immunity. And this active acquired immunity is also of two types. One is natural acquired active acquired immunity and second one is artificial active acquired immunity. And passive immunity is also two types. Here also natural passive immunity and second one is artificial passive immunity. Okay, so these are the types of immunity, right? We'll go, let us see the first one, innate immunity. Right, let us see the first one, innate immunity. So what is the meaning of innate? So innate means inborn. Okay, so it is the inborn resistance Okay, so it is the inborn resistance present in an individual from the time of birth. That means the baby is born with some immunity or the baby is born with some resistance. So that is called as innate immunity. Innate immunity means it is the inborn resistance present in an individual from the time of birth is called as innate immunity. Right? Then it is possessed by all living organisms. Right? It is possessed by all the living organisms. So most of the animals will have or the organisms are having the innate immunity. It is non-specific. Non-specific immunity. So what is the meaning of non-specific immunity? Non-specific means it shows a resistance to many diseases. That means it is showing resistance to many diseases, not only to a particular disease. It is not showing resistance to a specific disease. It is showing resistance to different types of diseases. Then we call that one as non-specific immunity. So it is a non-specific immunity and it does not require prior contact with a disease causing microorganism. Right? It does not require any prior contact with the disease causing microorganism. Once the disease causing microorganism enters into the body, it kills that microorganism. So that is called as non-specific immunity. Then how it is executed? It is executed by barriers. There are different types of barriers. Remember that. It is executed by different types of barriers. Now let us see the different types of barriers now. Right, let us see the different types of barriers now. Physical barriers. Right? So which are acting as physical barriers? The skin and mucous membrane. The skin and mucous membrane acts as the physical barriers. In the previous class I told you that skin is the largest barrier. So skin is prevents the disease causing microorganisms. That means the skin prevents the entry of disease causing microorganisms. Then what about the mucous membrane? Yeah, I told you that the mucous membrane lines the mucous epithelium is lining the respiratory tract, GI tract, urinogenital tracts. So if any microorganisms enters into the body, the mucous membrane traps those microorganisms and sends them outside. So right, second one, physiological barriers. Okay, physiological barriers. So what are physiological barriers? The physiological barriers includes the secretions. So secretions of the body. So what are those secretions? Let us see. HCl in the stomach. Then lysozyme of saliva and lysozyme of tears. That means our tears also contains the lysozyme enzyme. Then what these physiological barriers are doing? The physiological barriers prevent the microbial growth. Or simply we can say that if any microorganism enters into the mouth cavity, the lysozyme present in the saliva kills that microorganism. By chance it enters into the stomach, in the stomach the HCl kills that microorganism. If any microorganism falls in the eye, immediately it produces the tears. In the tears the lysozyme is there and that lysozyme kills that microorganism. So these are called as physiological barriers. Now let us see the third one, cellular barriers. So what are cellular barriers? Let us see them also. The cellular barriers includes mostly the white blood corpuscles acts as cellular barriers like polymorphonuclear leukocytes. You know that they are nothing but neutrophils. Polymorphonuclear leukocytes are called as neutrophils. Next, monocytes and natural killer cells of blood. That means these are present in the blood. And macrophages of tissue. Macrophages of tissue acts as the cellular barriers. Remember that. What are the cellular barriers present in the blood? One objective question. What are the cellular barriers present in the tissue? This is another objective question. So these are all objective questions only. Remember that. Very important. Right, this completes about the cellular barriers. Now let us go for the next one. So next one is cytokine barriers. Cytokine barriers. So what are cytokine barriers? Let us see. When a cell is infected with virus, the virus infected cell secretes the cytokines like interleukins. interleukins. So what is the function of these interleukins? Interleukins protect the surrounding cells from virus. Let us see. Suppose for example you take this one. So these are the cells present like this in a tissue. Okay. Right, these are the cells. In those cells, let us imagine that this cell is infected with virus. In the tissue, this cell is infected with virus. Right? Now, this virus infected cell is secreting interleukins. It is secreting interleukins. So, what these interleukins are doing? These interleukins are protecting these cells. The interleukins are protecting these cells from the virus. So, we can use the statement that the interleukins protects the surrounding cells from the viruses. So, this completes about the innate immunity. Now, let's go for the second one, adaptive immunity. Right, we go for the next one, acquired immunity or adaptive immunity. So what is acquired immunity or adaptive immunity? Let us see that one. So it is the lifetime immunity right? It is a lifetime immunity developed in a person after the birth, right? That means this type of immunity is acquired by that person in his lifetime. How this immunity is acquired by that person in his lifetime means, let us say, I'll take one example as the smallpox. So smallpox, if the person gets that smallpox for one time in his life, again he won't get that smallpox in his lifetime. Why? That person will get resistance against the smallpox. So let us see how he is getting that resistance against the smallpox in his lifetime. Let us see now. So it is a lifetime immunity developed in a person after the birth. It is pathogenic specific. It is pathogenic specific. That means this type of immunity is specific to a particular disease only. Remember that. This type of immunity is particular to some diseases. So it is pathogenic specific. Then it requires prior contact with a disease causing microorganism. That means once it requires prior contact with disease causing microorganisms. That means remember here, this type of immunity is developed in an individual after contacting with the disease causing microorganism only. Without entering the disease causing microorganism, that person cannot develop that type of immunity. Right? During the first incurrence, that means during the first encounter, that means when the disease causing microorganism enters into the body for the first time, what happens? It shows a primary response which is very slow and of low intensity. Remember that. Suppose when an antigen It is during the first encounter with what? That is the question. During the first encounter with pathogen, that means disease causing microorganism, it shows a primary response which is very slow and of low intensity. That means if a disease causing microorganism enters into our body, our immune system is showing very slow response to that microorganism, and also the response is also not having that much intensity. But subsequent encounter with the same antigen it shows secondary or immunostic. It shows quick or fast secondary or immunostic response. Remember that? Why it is showing very fast response means because already it has encountered, that means already the pathogen first entered into that body. Then the immune system has developed the memory for that antigen. So when the second time, if the same antigen is entering into our body, then what is happening? Immediately already it is having the memory of that pathogen. So the immune system is showing quick response, which is secondary, which is large and immunostic. Immunostic means large type of immune response. It is showing very large immune response. This is due to immunological memory. So let us see now. I'll tell again. I told you I have taken example as a smallpox. Okay. So or we can take chicken pox also, right? The person is infected with chicken pox. Okay. And that person recovered from the chicken pox, right? So the immune system will develop antibodies against that chicken pox, and those antibodies remain in our body as memory cells. Okay, understand that? Again, for the second time, if this chicken pox enters into our body, already produced antibodies are multiply rapidly and destroy the chicken pox which is entered for the second time, so that the person does not feel any symptoms of that chicken pox. You understand that? This is the secondary response, that is the immunological memory. Now let us go for the next one. Right, let us see how these primary and secondary responses are carried out. So the primary response and secondary response are carried out by two types of lymphocytes. What are those two types of lymphocytes? Let us see the first one, B lymphocytes. And the second one, T lymphocytes. Already I explained about these two in the previous video, right? There are two types of lymphocytes. One is the B lymphocytes and the second one is the T lymphocytes. What the B lymphocytes will do? The B lymphocytes produces an army of proteins called antibodies, called as antibodies. Right, these antibodies are released into the blood. Now let us see the structure of antibody. After explaining about the structure of antibody, we will see different types of antibodies also. Let us see that one. right? So each antibody is made up of with 4 polypeptides. 4 polypeptides. That means there are each antibody is made up of with 4 polypeptide chains. Out of this, we see here there are 2 heavy polypeptide chains and 2 light polypeptide chains. Right? This is the heavy polypeptide chain and this one is the light polypeptide chain. So this one is one heavy polypeptide chain and this one is one heavy polypeptide chain. This is one polypeptide, this is one light polypeptide. So an antibody is represented as H2L2. Right? So these are the antigen binding sites. These are the antigen binding sites. Right? So this is the antigen. Right? This is the antigen. This is the antigen binding site. Right? The antigen binding site of the antibody is called as paratope. Remember that. The antigen binding site of the antibody is called as paratope. And antibody binding site of antigen is called as epitope. So the antibody binds to the antigen. So the antigen where it is attaching to the antibody is called as epitope and the antibody where it is attaching to the antigen is called as paratope. Then remember that the antibodies are also called as immunoglobulins. Very important. Immunoglobulins. Right? So why we are calling the antibody as H2L2 means it is made up of with 4 polypeptide chains with 2 heavy polypeptide chains and 2 light polypeptide chains. That is the reason why we are calling this one as H2L2. Right? What is paratope? Paratope is the site present on the body. That means the antigen binding site of antibody is called as paratope. Then what is epitope? Antibody binding site on the antigen is called as epitope. Then remember that the polypeptide chains are binded with each other, are held with each other. The light polypeptide chain and heavy polypeptide chain are held with each other by disulfide bonds. So it is not there in the textbook, but it is represented in the diagram. You have to remember that disulfide bond. These are the disulfide bonds. Remember that. The disulfide bonds are present between the light polypeptide and heavy polypeptide and between the 2 heavy polypeptide chains. So simply you can ask the question that the polypeptide chains are held by disulfide bonds. Very, very important. So remember this antibody structure. This antibody structure is very important for the diagram and also for the 2 marks question also in the PUC level. So very important question this one. So remember this one. Right. Let us see the how many types of immunoglobulins are there now. Right. So types of immunoglobulins. So let us see them. The first one is IgA, IgG, IgD, IgE and IgM. How many types I have written? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So IgA is very important. Remember that. So this IgA regarding IgA immunoglobulins, the question was given in the 2019 NEET. So what is that question? The first milk given by mother to the baby is called as colostrum. Colostrum. Right? This colostrum is yellow in color. Right? Remember that. The first milk given to the baby is colostrum. So the colostrum consists of immunoglobulins or antibodies. Okay, the antibodies present in the mother's first milk are called as IgA antibodies. Remember that. The IgA antibodies are present in the mother's first milk. Mother's first milk is called as colostrum. Right. Next one, IgG. So 75% of immunoglobulins are IgG type. And these are the smallest immunoglobulins. These are the smallest immunoglobulins. And these immunoglobulins can pass through the placenta also. And these are less than 1%. This is also 1%. And this one is secreted during allergy. Right? These are secreted during the allergy. And IgM is 7 to 10%, largest immunoglobulin. And it is the first immunoglobulin to go to the site of infection. Remember that. So IgM is the first immunoglobulin to go to the site of infection. If the bacteria enters into the body, first the IgM will go there. Okay, the first antibody that goes to the site of infection or to the microorganism is IgM. Then what about the IgD? IgD forms as a receptors on the cells like this. They are forming as the receptors. They form as the receptors on the antibodies. Right. So this completes about the adaptive immunity, and the types of adaptive immunity will go in the next class. Right. So have a nice day, ma. If any doubts, please text me. Okay. Thank you.